I was called by God to preach when I was 13 years old. 40 years ago in Georgia, that was a strange thing to claim. So I struggled to hold on to this call. In fact, by the time I reached college, I'd watered it down. I would go into Christian education. That's what I decided, since that would be more socially acceptable for somebody like me. The only two problems with that were, number one, I am terrible in a room full of children, and two, it wasn't God's call. That's just the fact. I tried anyway, but it just wasn't God's call, so I failed miserably. Then I walked away from my call completely. I didn't realize that the call was intricately connected to my faith, so to abandon my calling and to play fast and loose with my relationship with God, that was all kind of mixed in together. When I lost my call, I lost my faith. That's what I'm trying to say. And I became an easy target for the enemy of my soul, who tied my hands, kicked me down the street, and threw me into a prison of alcoholism. Somewhere in there, I finished college, I got married, and I began a career outside the church. I was in public relations. In fact, I got out of church altogether for about 10 years. But I want you to be clear on this. I did not stop going to church because the church wasn't relevant, or because the church didn't meet my needs, or because the church somehow hurt me. I quit going because the enemy of my soul came and snatched me up and threw me into a prison that I was then unable to get out of on my own. It would take 12 years for me to finally fully come home to Jesus. And it happened by mistake. A friend roped me into attending a Bible study. And over time, I got invested in the Bible study. I got involved. One day, the leader of the study invited me into the leadership team, but told me in no uncertain terms that if I was to accept the invitation into leadership, I would have to quit drinking. I said, I tell you what, let me get back to you. I want to pray about it, which is code for when hell freezes over. I had no intention of giving up drinking. But I have to tell you, that invitation kind of stuck with me. It was a hook. Someone leading a Bible study had the guts to invite me to consider a different way of life. I took the bait. One day soon after that, I realized the depth of the choice I'd been given. The choice was basically quit drinking and lead a Bible study, or keep the status quo and allow my life to continue floating along without purpose. That choice wasn't ultimately a choice about leadership, it was a choice about lordship. The real question in front of me in that season was this: who gets to be Lord of my life? I'll tell you something, I had my last drink, 24 years ago now. That choice was to quit was one of the best choices of my whole life. This question is the question every great story of transformation begins with. Who gets to be Lord? Who gets to be Lord? Until you answer that question, nothing else matters. When you answer that question, everything gets redeemed. Everything.